Hello and welcome to the Imaging Wire Show. My name is Brian Casey. I'm managing editor of the Imaging Wire. We've got a great episode for you today. Our topic is subscription-based CT, and our guest is Saad Sirohey. He is Global General Manager for CT Care Areas, Digital and AW at GE Healthcare. Saad, thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Brian.
You bet. So, Saad, can you give us a little bit of background about you and your role at GE Healthcare?
Sure. Background education-wise, I have a doctorate in electrical engineering, specializing in computer vision and image processing. I joined GE as an engineer, building algorithms for our advanced visualization products, primarily for CT. Moved on to become a product manager in CT for advanced applications, and now I lead our global CT business for all of the clinical care areas, all of our digital offerings that we have, as well as the global Advantage Workstation business.
All right, very good. So with a background like that in CT, you've probably seen quite a bit in the modality, and it really is the workhorse modality in radiology. It's used for so many different things. What are some of the major trends that you see happening in CT right now?
So yes, I've been with CT for quite some time. I've seen the evolution from if you talk about like the 4 slice to 8 slice to 16 slice, and then really formally getting into the volume CT with our introduction of the Lightspeed VCT. That really opened up a huge amount of diagnostic capabilities. I mean, things like cardiac imaging became normal at that time. Things like 3-phase liver were not possible before that. So that's all happened in the early ages. And then, of course, they all required advanced applications to actually support them. Opening up new clinical diagnostic areas. We see overall right now, with the advancement of CT technology and also opening up new clinical areas, we are seeing a significant growth across the board on all diagnostic imaging capabilities, but more so with the advent of the cardiac CT as the frontline test for chest pain management. We're seeing a significant growth in that area as well. And as you know, cardiac imaging, because of the motion that's involved, is the toughest challenge for a CT scanner to address, and also a very tough challenge for post-processing applications. So this is where we see a great opportunity for even further enhancements and advancements in CT imaging.
And there's so much happening on the software side as well, and which we're going to touch on a little bit, in terms of like, using AI and things like that, and we'll jump into that in a little bit. So with CT being so useful, there's also a lot of economic pressures in healthcare in general right now. Are your customers having to hold on to their CT scanners longer?
Yes. As I mentioned, the time when we talked about 4 slice, 8 slice, 16 slice, typical lifespan of a scanner at those times, whether the customer held, were around 6 to 7 years, and they would change their scanners and get the latest new ones. That is now typically of the order of almost 10 years. And there are cases when it's even longer than that. So yes, people are holding on to the assets much longer. It does vary from region to region globally, but the trend everywhere is they hold on to the assets longer.
What kind of pressure does that put on a healthcare provider when they have to hold on to a scanner that they might have replaced 20 years ago? Does that make it more difficult for them? I mean, how do you keep those customers current?
So there are two vectors that are happening here, right? The pace of innovation is much faster than it used to be, right? And then the customers are holding on to the assets much longer. And this is like it's a collision, right? Basically, on capabilities that are being introduced, on even the systems that they have, versus what capabilities they currently have. And the challenge gets magnified for a customer that has a fleet of systems at various ages of service. So you almost have a challenge in which patients you want to send to which system, which will have a different capability, whether it's lower dose, better acquisition speed, or other clinical capabilities versus the other one. So it becomes a scheduling challenge for our customers as well.
Now, you mentioned a minute ago one of the other forces besides economics is the advancements in software, and this is advanced visualization, things like 3D. This is AI. I mean, there's just so much amazing new software applications coming out, every single day. Why do you think that the software segment of CT is exploding like it is?
So, and again, as you know from my background, I've been in the advanced visualization post-processing software for almost 25 years now in GE. So the key thing with CT is it is easy. And when I say it's easy, it's not, the data is consistent. So you've got a Hounsfield unit and you know what those data values are. It makes it easier for doing image processing and visualization in a very standardized manner, which is why a CT system typically is a package with the scanner and the software solution as a solution to the customer. The advent of deep learning, this really happened around 2016, 2017, where the ability to have those applications be extremely accurate. Basically, 90 to 95% of the time, they produce results that don't need any additions or any changes. That really changed the dynamics of what you could do with those post-processing applications together with the acquisition, and that's really where we are seeing changes. It also added the fact that we've got some AI applications that are really point specific, that open up a new clinical domain and clinical area, cardiac being one, stroke being another one.
So when it comes to AI, what are some of the clinical applications that you get most excited about?
So, and this is going to be reversed, because in the early years, we got most excited about most of the esoteric applications, like solving the cardiac coronary imaging challenges, solving perfusion and stroke applications, even things like CT colonography, right? The ability to visualize the colon, dissect it, and have it in a single slab so you can quickly review it. I mean, just as an example, if you want to do a multiplanar reformat review of a colon, it almost takes 40 minutes by a trained radiologist. And then you can basically flip that around and have a fly through the entire colon. So those were the exciting applications when we started. What I'm more excited about is all of these repetitive, mundane tasks that a technologist needs to do just to create the right orientation of an image for a radiologist to review. This could be spine imaging, so that they want a curved planar reformat, which takes almost like 10 minutes by a trained technologist to create and send over with the labeling of the spine segments. Things like we know that head imaging is 30% of all procedures are CT head, but heads are not always perfectly aligned when you do the imaging, right? So they also need to massage it so that they can reorient the head images so that they can be reviewed in a more standardized manner. So those are areas that I'm really excited about, because this is a huge chunk of productivity benefits that can be provided to our customers. I'm not saying that I'm not excited about the other ones, but this is an area that we hadn't touched before.
Yeah, it kind of seems like AI has almost been shifting from a more of a clinical focus in terms of like helping radiologists interpret images into more of a workflow and economic focus in terms of, helping technologists position patients and enable radiology to work more efficiently, just, kind of across the board. Do you see that?
It's where the challenges are and where the I know we may touch into it further, but there is a huge shortage of trained technologists that is hitting our customers. So anything that reduces the amount of pressure on them doing their work, whether it's accurately positioning the patient on the scanner, which we've introduced what we call the effortless workflow. And the effortless workflow basically is driving an acquisition so that you don't have to worry about what protocol was. Protocol becomes automatically available given the order information from the DICOM tags. The patient is automatically positioned. You've got help in prescribing where the scan needs to be done. You press the button, and after the button is pressed, every other protocol that's triggering that produces the automated, reformatted images. Spine is labeled, its curve reformat is done. Nobody needs to touch it, and all of this goes straight to the back. So that's really what's getting done with this capability.
So we've got all these great software applications. We've got AI, and we've got advanced visualization, and just a whole universe of things out there. How difficult is it for providers to manage all these applications, and what do you guys offer to help them do that?
So the traditional way that people manage these advanced applications and AI, right, was basically you do a purchase, and it's typically backed up with the capital purchase. So you're purchasing a new scanner, and you're going to be purchasing the solutions that are needed to open up the clinical services that the customer wants to apply, or the user wants to apply. So with the AI, the ability to innovate and introduce applications at a much faster rate is at a loggerhead with the ability to get financing from a capital purchase perspective. So this is where we are seeing a trend. We are seeing a trend in the market, but we also introduced a new business model for our customers, because we saw our customers holding on to applications, calling it state of the art, where the applications were almost 7 years old. So for us to get them the best benefit out of that, and to tackle the speed of innovation that we were going to be seeing, we introduced a subscription business model for addressing that. And it really focused on subscribing to the areas that the customers are most wanting to keep up abreast of, things like recon and IQ capabilities, general imaging capabilities. I just spoke about the spine labeling, which we introduced spine auto views, head auto views, things like that. And then there's targeted care areas. So if you've got a cardiac focus, so you package the cardiac applications in that. If you've got a stroke or a neuro focus, you package the neuro applications in that. Oncology. Then, of course, we haven't touched on spectral imaging, which is dual energy, which is a whole different area. So you package those capabilities. So this is where we looking at what our customers are facing. We introduced this way back in 2018 as a means for our customers to have a different model and a different relationship with us at GE Healthcare than they had before.
So this kind of sounds a little bit like software as a service, SaaS. Would you describe this subscription model as being something like that?
So it is a variant of SaaS. I wouldn't say it's exactly SaaS, because if you look at SaaS literally, right, it's software as a service. So the service could be as simple as it's being maintained, so there's no bugs or anything onto the software, all the way to to adding new functionality for the software that's been purchased, kind of like the Microsoft model that you've seen. We're more into adding new content, so it's a little variant of that. So as we innovate and add new capability, it gets included. And that's why I'm saying this is as a subscription rather than a service, because subscription, just like Netflix, you subscribe to it because of the new content. If you don't get new content, you're not going to subscribe to it.
Right. Gotcha. So are clients able to pick and choose what they want to get delivered through this subscription service? Like, so if someone's a cardiology practice, would they just want those new cardiology applications, and maybe they might not be so interested in oncology?
Yes. So we've created packages for subscription. There is a base package, right? Things like scanner capabilities that are Recon and IQ. As we keep innovating, we introduce True Fidelity, which is a deep learning image reconstruction. We introduced recently True Enhanced DL. So we've introduced metal artifact reduction software. So all of those things that are really Recon and IQ, that formulates are what we call the base package. So that's really keeping your scanner software capability up to spec. After that, there's a general imaging. So if you're doing some general imaging applications, vascular applications, spine review, all of these things, so there's a general imaging package. And then there's the cardiac package, which covers all of the cardiac applications. And then you have the oncology package, the radon package, the spectral package, and the neuro package. We've made it easy for our customers to basically subscribe to these clinical services. So you can basically have the base package and the cardiac package, and that's you're done. So you get the capabilities on those two packages. We've also basically said that if you don't want to figure out which packages you have or which service lines you want to open up with your new scanner, we've introduced something called the Unlimited, which is basically one price and you get everything, all the innovations that we do. And it's really surprising that we thought that was going to be a fraction of what the people would be looking at. But this goes back to your question about the challenges on these different AI applications that are coming up for the administrators. They feel much comfortable to pay a set price and basically get everything that we're going to introduce.
That's kind of like an all-you-can-eat option then, I guess.
Exactly. But
Awesome.
It's making it easier than I want to pick the colon software, or I want to pick the vascular software, or I want to pick the cardiac software. This is more along the entire service line.
Yeah. Now, so much of radiology is moving into enterprise imaging. How does this subscription model operate in a enterprise imaging environment?
So our subscription model, and we were careful in how we had designed this, since it's an essential part of the effortless workflow of the scanner. So there are capabilities that are linked with the scanner protocol to initiate the automation that gets done at the other end. So it's really how we want to address the scan specific automation all the way to the image being generated. What we also did was we didn't do this only on systems that we are going to introduce now, right? So it's not just with the new scanners. The same capability flows down into our older scanner models as well. So if the customer has a fleet of systems at various ages, these capabilities could be subscribed to every one of their systems. And then, of course, if the customer has more than one of the systems subscribed, we have enterprise level discussions with those customers as well. Now, moving to a pure enterprise, that's our next evolution. Addressing this and then trying to address how do we handle multiple systems at the same time is an ongoing technical challenge that we need to address, as well as a commercial model that we want to build.
Yeah, it seems like this would be a much more efficient way for radiology departments and imaging centers to manage all their applications. Have you guys done any studies in terms of like what kind of imaging or efficiency impact this has?
So I can share. So we have introduced a package called Spine Auto Views, which is basically the spine labeling and the reformer. So just from our evaluation side, what we were able to see, and this is what I was quoting before, our technologists typically spent about 8 to 10 minutes per exam, depending on the complexity of the exam, to create the images that the radiologist had asked for them to review. All of this thing is now done automatically. So this is per exam, depending on how many of those chest abdomen exams you have in which you've got to assess the spine, all of those things can now be done fully automatically. And it starts reducing time per technologist. I mean, some of the quotes we got from our evaluation site was, hey, I can go home at 5 p.m. now.
That's great. So, and that addresses this issue that we talked about earlier, and which a lot of imaging providers are painfully aware of, which is the shortage of technologists, people to position the patients and do that sort of thing.
Exactly. So instead of focusing on massaging the data through post-processing, they can focus more on the patient and how to make sure that the patient is comfortable doing the scan.
Very good. So Saad, we're kind of in RSNA season right now, and we've got the RSNA meeting coming up in a few weeks. What are some things that we can expect to see from GE in terms of subscription-based CT as we run up to the Chicago meeting?
So we will definitely have so subscription, as you know, is only valid if you keep innovating and providing new capabilities. And aligned with that, that's exactly what we will be showcasing at RSNA, how these new capability really expand the solutions that our CT scanners can provide to our customers. So really excited about some of the new things that we're going to be coming up with and sharing. It will be built along the lines of what we already have introduced, things like spine auto view, head auto views. We're also going to be showcasing cardiac suite innovation in which we automate the cardiac. We have, as you know, our Apex Elite, which is a 16 centimeter scanner, can do cardiac imaging in a single beat. But beyond that, we also have introduced things like ECG-less cardiac. So if you don't have ECG leads, you can still do a cardiac acquisition for those patients that you just can't put leads on. This also allows us to do a whole acquisition. So basically an end-to-end cardiac phase acquisition from end systole to end diastole. And that one exam can provide things like cardiac coronaries, the valvular action, because you've got a dynamic acquisition mode. You can look at the structurally what's going on in the heart. So it's a very comprehensive suite, but it can only be done if you marry it with the post-processing software that can produce it. So those are some of the areas that can open up with some of these capabilities that we are introducing with our scanners, and then how they align with how we produce the post-processing solutions. We're really excited about RSNA.
Good. Well, something to look forward to in Chicago. Well, some great discussion today. I'd like to thank Saad Sirohey of GE Healthcare for being with us. Saad, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, signing off for the Imaging Wire, my name is Brian Casey.